free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to add you?
What
to
is
the
it?
meet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me please.
Yeah.
And it will be something a class more than our regular classes, or it will be on our.
It's
Ah,
separate.
separate.
So what it is,
Separate?
it's going to be 2 hours once a week for 4 weeks. So 8 hours altogether.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And they could teach us like making a resume from zero. Because
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So you can start from the beginning with Spanish, or if you have it already in English,
Mhm.
I would be reviewing it and seeing if you could make any
I
changes.
haven't made it in English because it was like,
It's hard. It's a really
I love
long
to do it.
process.
yeah,
It's a really long process.
that's why
and-
I haven't made it.
yeah. I'll go ahead and add you guys. Do you want to be added or?
Let me think about it.
Okay. Okay. And. Oh, you said on top of
I already have one,
You have
and I have to do it step by step.
Mm-hmm.
One day, little.
Do you know where's the institution where we can go and translate our high school certificates or college?
Oh, like
certificates?
apostillad.
Huh?
Like apostillad.
No, what I mean is like, for example, I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
to go to Canada, but working there.
Okay.
So asking for a permission.
Okay.
I didn't know about this, but if you're Mexican, you can travel to Canada without a visa.
Really?
Yeah, you just need to make a kind of electronic, electronic visa. So it's very easy.
Yeah, if you're talking about translating documents, what you need is called apostille. Apostille.
Postia,
Yeah, apostille.
apostia.
And this is,
Apostilla.
yeah, because I'm going to get married this year and it's a process. So I have to apostille my documents. And the same is true. When you have a document from a certain country,
Mm-hmm.
and you, for example, you have your degree from Mexico, and you want to use the same document in another country, what you do is called apostille. And that's when it's translated and they also confirm that it's a legitimate document. It's not just something that you created from, they
From Word.
confirm, yeah, exactly. So they confirm that it's a legitimate document and they translate it.
And do you know where's the institution where you can do that?
I'll get back to you because I'm in this process right now.
I did
With-
that before.
Yeah, do you have a suggestion?
Every country has an ministry or
You have to go to SEP first.
yeah,
Secretaría de
headquarters.
Educación Pública, but I
Secretaría
recommend
de
you.
Relaciones Exteriores.
Secretaría de Relaciones
And you
Exteriores.
ask for apostilla. You need necesitas
Apostilla?
apostillar
Apostille.
un documento. Apostilla is like a certification.
A-P-O-S-T-I-L-L-E.
There are group,
Apostille.
there is a group of countries which made a yeah, like
Pact. Or agreement.
a agreement,
Uh-huh.
and it is called Convención de la Haya.
Convención?
Convención de la Haya. A long time ago, that group of countries made an agreement, and if one of those countries take a document and certificates with this apostilla,
Mm-hmm.
that document becomes valid in the other countries which are forming the group.
Okay.
So I did it for my
Yes.
university degree from Venezuela in order to become valid in Chile, but it is valid even here in Mexico too, because Mexico is part of the Convención de la Haya.
Okay.
And what, do you know if Canada is part of it too?
Probably
think so.
because the main countries are part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so because the NAFTA and
And if the document is from
yeah, we
Mexico
won.
and you want it for another country which main language is English,
Mhm.
then they make the translation to
To the
become
Okay.
to become available
Thank you so
that
much.
document.
Yeah, so they translate it, but the most important thing is verifying that it's a legitimate document. And that's what you would
It has to have like a kind of.
a seal, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a process. Everything in Mexico is a little slower, but you can do it. So why are you interested in going to Canada?
Because I think it's way easier to immigrate to Canada than immigrate to the USA. I was looking. I was making a kind of research,
Uh-huh.
and they have like 37 million people in the whole country,
Yeah.
and it's a country that it's bigger than the USA. So
It's the second biggest country in the world. And I mean the greater Mexico, like Mexico City, state of Mexico, Puebla, Morelos. This is like the same population as Canada.
Mhm.
So it's a very small population for a huge,
for a big country.
yeah,
So
huge country.
I was watching this YouTube video, and they say that they need a lot of people, they need a lot of immigrants, and they are like kind of open the doors to everyone that wants to
Mhm.
travel to Canada. But you need English or French.
Mhm.
You need high school. You need being a technician or having a college degree. So I'm making my college degree, but I'm also a technician. So if I can approve now, and if they accept me, I will not be ending my degree. I just want to be out here in Mexico.
Okay.
I love my country, but I think that maybe the country will be a mess in a couple of years because the new administration. For example, I was looking. You can see it with the dollar. For example, the dollar like 3 months ago it was like 18 pesos,
It's like 20,
and now it's
21.
like 19.45.
Yeah,
It's almost 20.
yeah,
So for example, it doesn't matter if you're earning a lot of pesos. Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, it doesn't have that much power.
Right. The only, I mean, I love Mexico. I want to stay for a very long time, maybe forever. The biggest problem for me is the value of the peso because it doesn't take you far in other countries. So my family is still in the US and I'm going to Chicago for 5 days next month. And I said to my husband, in those 5 days, we're going to spend at least 2 weeks worth of money, at least. And also, obviously, the money that we lose by not being at work. So he said, oh, we already paid for the flight and the hotel, so the trip is paid for. And I said, no. The car and the food and everything is so expensive.
Compared to Mexico.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you there, but it just depends on your goals. And
Yeah, and I also love Mexico, but I think that if I want to, like, having a kind of, I don't know how to say, like, you want to be aware that you are not have to working a lot and actually not earning that much. I think here in Mexico you can work a lot and you can earn a lot, but at the end of the day you're not having like kind of medium stay, like you can be that much without working and actually staying in the same place.
you can, yeah, kind of get stuck. Yeah. Just know that anytime you immigrate, it's a process. It's a transition. And you have to, I mean, you have a good level of English, but you have to get used to a lot of new things. And it can be hard to, like, economically get, do you know the term, get the ball rolling? To get established. So just know, I mean, do it. I think it's a great idea, but just know that like financially it can be hard in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking for. I actually like what you said. It's really cool, and I haven't thought about it until today. I think so, because I've been working on a call center
Mm-hmm.
here in Mexico for the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was looking if I've been working here 3 years since 3 years ago. I can be applying for a job in Canada on the same thing,
Sure.
but like English, Spanish. And
Mhm.
actually, they are asking that, so
Oh.
it's cool.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm being very positive, but if it's a reality, I can be applying to that, and maybe they will.
If you want to do it, then do it. And I mean, Spanish is an important language worldwide. I mean, after Chinese and English, it's the most common language. And so even as Spanish speakers, we have an advantage.
Mhm.
So,
And I have a question. For example, I have a female friend that I met her on high school,
Mhm.
and then with Hope, the teacher, the regular teacher,
Yeah.
sorry, and then with John, when I haven't asked him to John, but for example, I've been asked to my female friend and to Hope if they are kind of slowing their phrases, their vocabulary, their English, in order to us understand you. So is the same with you, or you're talking like to the normal speed? Because
Oh.
I have that problem. For example, if I'm like watching Friends or watching a documentary, the first time if I'm not watching it with subtitles, I'm not understanding like
right.
60 or 70% I'm understanding it, but
Mhm.
not that much. And then I have to listen like a second or a third time to understand like full.
Sure.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
that's the question.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I have to. You guys all have a good level of English, but I do have to slow down a little bit. Speak a little bit more clearly. In English, all languages use what we call reduced speech. So like when you say vaya, you kind of combine words. Reduced speech.
Okay.
And so all languages have this phenomenon where we kind of combine certain words, or we don't emphasize certain words, certain sounds,
Mhm.
and things like that. So we all, like, between native speakers, we do this a lot, and it's something that I try to avoid with students, because I think it's good for you to hear the correct full pronunciation,
Mhm.
but it's also really important to understand the native speakers. I was wondering about maybe some, I don't know, like listening to, I don't know. If you want, you can listen to me and John when we speak, or when John, he speaks with Hope, or anytime you can listen to a native conversation, it's good for practice. So obviously with the media, the TV shows,
Mhm.
as much as you can, and then over time, you go, okay, yeah, I know now this is like a combination of these two words.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, like we say,
Like
come on.
for example, if we say pa allá,
But yeah, it's like we like that particular translation. It doesn't have a reduced form, but we say like going to is gonna. Like I'm gonna go now.
okay.
Yeah. So going to
Okay.
becomes gonna. Want to, and I'm sure that you've heard all of these, but maybe you didn't really think about it. Wanna. Come on.
Mhm.
We say like, come on. How about? We usually say how about. Things like that. So kind of ways of combining words and sounds
Mhm.
to make them easier. I could talk like that, but I don't think it's the best way to teach. I think it's better to speak more.
I think the last one it's very difficult. Can you say that?
How about?
How about?
Yeah. So like it's to give a suggestion. Like how about we go for tacos? Like ¿qué tal vamos por? How about? So
You have to sit here.
yeah, I don't know, whatever you prefer. But yeah, this is called reduced speech, and it's very common in English. And the reason that you understand well now and maybe not so well watching a show is because of reduced speech. So it's not that I'm slowing down so much, but I am speaking more clearly. And just, I'm making sure that I pronounce the words well.
Or pronounce the words completely.
Exactly. But it's something like, I mean, it could be worth trying for me to speak with you in reduced speech. And when you have problems, I'll say, okay, this is how or you can tell me what you heard and I'll write the complete form and we can identify what the reduced form is. So that could be something that we could try.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And for example, if you're reading like a kind of, like if you're reading a book and that book is not a very polite book, you will find gonna, wanna, come on.
When you mean polite, you mean educado, but like,
Like for example, like it's not something about him, but if you're reading a book about from Stephen King, you can find gonna.
Yeah, it's usually in what we call the dialogue, which is the conversations between the characters. One series that you find this reduced speech is Harry Potter, because she really, the author really wanted to give an image of the way that the character talked. Like, for example, do you remember the groundskeeper, Hagrid?
Yeah.
He was kind of like a little bit less educated than some of the other characters. So he would use these like constantly, the reduced speech constantly. And other people that were more educated wouldn't use it so much. So she kind of used it as a way of showing like, who was more educated and who was maybe more...
Like for example, Hermione would be using going to, and this guy, I don't remember his name, his friend, the
Redhead friend.
Oh, Ron.
Ron would be using gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could be showing their house,
their kind of like their education or how much importance they put on grammar and things like that. Yeah, so that's a really, Harry Potter is really good for the reduced speech because she'll even like them, some people will just say them. And you'll see this apostrophe that represents a missing sound. So like this apostrophe represents the A, this represents the TH.
Actually, there's a Metallica album that names Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, because he always says, come on, in the music. Yeah, so if you like to read, you can read Harry Potter. And it's also a good suggestion because it's not too complicated. It's pretty easy to, if you have intermediate level, it's pretty easy to.
Can you give us another example? For example, Harry Potter. I'm thinking about the Big Bang Theory, but not that much.
Any show for native speakers will have reduced speech.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just giving an example of a book that used reduced forms. But any show, any movie or TV show has the reduced speech.
Also comics. I think I have
Yeah, you're right.
I have
Like
one in
Archie
my
or
house.
something. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a photograph of it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of, how do you say themes here? Like
A lot of information.
information.
Yeah. So what about the, are either of you interested in taking English exam, like the IELTS or the TOEFL?
Yeah, I'm very interested.
Yeah, oh, it's so hard.
It's hard?
It's so hard.
Yeah?
It's like, yeah, it's so hard because It's like the kind of test that I had to take to finish high school. But for you, it's this, but it's in English.
Yes.
So it's because you have to know, like for example, calculating numbers. You have to have a good understanding of science or even engineering and things like. You have to have a good general knowledge of different topics, and you have to know about them in English. So it's so hard. I've been working with a student for 4 or 5 months, and I think you really need to be B2, an upper intermediate to take the test.
Yeah.
Like
If you want to go to Canada, if you have a degree, you need to present IELTS or
TOEFL.
I think they prefer IELTS, but I think that they.
That's the first thing that they are asking in the page.
Yeah, the TOEFL is more for the US and the IELTS is more for Canada.
yeah.
But they also have their own kind of test. I think it's CPM, something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the only thing is,
You can take CPM and not taking IELTS, like the Canadian exam.
if they say that that's okay, then you can. But if you take the IELTS, it applies everywhere. But the
Yeah.
Canada test is only for Canada. So if you decide later, oh, I want to go somewhere else, you can't do that with just the Canadian test.
For example, if you don't approve the test, you can apply it again and again and again until you
Yeah,
You're
but
done?
it's like 6,000 pesos.
6,000.
Yeah, and it's like 3 or 4 hours with no breaks, just the
Yeah.
test.
You have to
So
listen.
it's very intense. So I mean, I don't recommend taking it until you feel ready. Yeah. Mostly because of the money, but also the time.
If you want to do a master degree, you need the IELTS
Yeah.
also. If you're taking
Yeah, it's
English.
so hard. I think we need to have here at the school like some type of IELTS orientation or something. I don't know, but it's really hard.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if it's maybe it's 4,000, but I mean that's still a lot of money.
You can take it.
Yeah. Are you hoping to take an English exam or just improve your general English?
Maybe, but it's not priority.
Mm-hmm. So are you hoping to stay in Mexico?
Yes.
Life is good.
I want to be here, but I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah, I mean you can always come back.
Mhm.
You know what with the Mexican people that I know, the more that they travel, the more that they love Mexico.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna miss the tacos and the weather.
I asked Hope, which is your favorite food, and she said Mexican food.
Yeah, I love pastor. And I love
Yeah.
everything.
Just in who is called?
The girl,
Your teacher.
our teacher, Esperanza.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, but Esperanza.
Yeah.
I didn't translate it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but she told us the first
Yeah.
class that we taught together, it have been Hope and John and Hope, and I Hope said, I'm Hope, and I said what? And like Esperanza and
Okay.
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 Yeah, or like Grace, Graciela. Yeah, you can translate some names.
Mhm.
Not all, but some.
So she said Mexican food or Italian food.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you were saying that sometimes your nephew was feeling bored with while you was watching movies with English subtitles. I do recommend seeing picking one movie you would like to see over and over again, like for me, Terminator 2, Toy Story, and I'm also watching Two and a Half,
2.5 Men.
and some movie you two could watch all over and over again. So he done eventually he's gonna understand quickly the phrases because it's gonna be familiar to him.
He asked me to,
You're seeing different movies.
yes,
It's not the same.
Can you send me the page on WhatsApp?
Yep.
On the blog, please.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Another suggestion that I have is when you when it's a movie that you've already seen in Spanish, you already understand the context. And so when you watch it in English, you just kind of focus on the smaller details that maybe you didn't notice the first time.
Mhm.
So anything that you've watched before in Spanish, you watch it in English and you can understand sort of the smaller details.
he loves Minecraft. Huge fan. Huge. He has also trousers of Minecraft. It's like crazy.
How about Marvel movies and the Avengers?
Oh, yeah.
He likes the Lord of the Rings. I got the
Could be
extended
good.
version.
Really?
It's like
It was
9 hours.
crazy.
It's
But
I
he
haven't seen
likes
it.
it. And
No, yeah,
he told me.
I don't like it, but I mean, it's a good choice
good movie.
for him.
And
Have
he-
you-
Because
Have you watched Game of Thrones?
I saw a few
A few chapters?
episodes,
A few
but
episodes, sorry.
I think it's okay, but it didn't
The first
hook
season?
me. What?
The first season?
Yeah.
There are seven,
Game of Thrones.
eight seasons.
There are 8 seasons, and the last one was the last year. But the 8th season is the worst. It's like they have been building like the biggest
Yeah.
skyscraper in the world, and they in the 8th
Esa
season
serie
they
no me enganchó.
They
killed
blow it
that
up.
No,
skyscraper
no te,
and
no te
making
claves
bullshit.
tampoco.
It's cool, but it's not.
Ah,
It's not.
It didn't hook me.
It's not that.
it didn't hook.
Yeah. Didn't
It didn't
hook
hook you.
me. Do you know the meaning of the expression?
Mm.
English. So when you say like, gusto ko mag-pero mama, it didn't hook me.
Do you like Marvel movies?
Yeah. I have a few movies in the
What's your favorite movie?
I like Iron Man.
Iron Man.
One,
That's
two,
very good man.
three. There are three.
There are
The
3.
best, good, not so good.
Like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. The best is the one. The best is the first one.
Yes.
It didn't hook me.
Yeah. I mean, gancho is hook. So I mean, it's actually kind of a literal translation. Okay, what else?
What's your favorite movie? Or
Well, my favorite show is Black Mirror. Does anyone like Black Mirror?
I just watched one episode and it didn't hook me.
The pig?
It was one
The
about.
You never watched the pig episode?
I just watched one where it was about all of them have their own phone and you can be from 1 to 5.
Oh, the
stars.
star rate, yeah. You didn't
Yeah.
like that one?
It wasn't. It is not about it didn't like me. It was about like it was kind of weird. Like
It is weird, but I mean that's the point. The idea is to talk about like where technology is taking us, and usually not in a good way.
Yeah.
So like, what are the consequences, and where do we put the limits on technology?
I think it's taking us in that way.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it is called Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror is
It's so
Netflix.
I
Netflix
recommend
original.
I'm
this.
gonna give it a try.
Hi.
Vengo con yo.
Adelante.
So,
Ahí está. Black?
It's a Netflix original series.
It's Netflix.
Have you watched Stranger Things?
I liked the first two, but not the third.
Do you not like the third season?
No, because it was about the Russian, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't like the stereotypes.
Okay.
Like if they make it about Mexico and it's about the drug cartels. I don't like that kind of,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
so I don't like.
I didn't saw the third season.
For me, it's the best, but just about the relationships between the characters.
I like that element a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not about, as you said, this is a typical USA versus Russia. and
Yeah,
all that.
versus the Soviet Union in the 1980s.
We have to stop.
I'm not going to see it.
That's not.
The first one and the second one, they're
I liked it a lot, and I'm going to keep watching it because I like it still, but I didn't like the third season.
There are some series we started to see because we like it, but when the quality is decreasing, we feel that necessity to finish the series.
Yeah, could get
Because-
better.
Yeah, in every minute it could be,
You could
it
could
be done
happen.
better.
Yeah.
But with Heroes, it didn't happen.
Okay.
Heroes,
Heroes.
is a series
Oh, yeah.
about some, it's like the X-Men, like
It's amazing.
people with powers and
Those words in conversation, it's a good way to help you remember. Okay? So, what else is there? Any questions?
Do you have another grammar tool like the image from the,
Oh yeah, but for what?
like for, I don't know, for our next, I don't know, like for practice the next thing.
what do
Next
you
class?
what do you think, guys, about practicing the conditionals?
Conditionals.
Like, if I had more money to do it.
The if,
If
If
you
you- yeah.
run, I run.
Okay.
conditionals what? It's just that, conditional?
Yeah, just put,
There are different types.
yeah, like the first conditional is like, if you heat water, it boils. Si haces esta cosa, también pasa esta cosa.
If you then,
If you, then this happens. The second conditional is like, como si
If I
tuviera más
what?
dinero, viajaría más. If I had more money, I would travel more.
I have these ones.
Yeah, if, I don't know if, you guys just meet once a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see you again next week, but if I do, then we can do that. If you guys agree, we can.
Yeah.
Is that something that you? Okay.
I don't have any problem.
We don't have
Yeah, so just review the notes. If you want to watch Black Mirror, that's my Netflix suggestion. I really like it. And not just because it's a good show, but also because it's a British show, but the actors are from all over the world, and you could hear a lot of different accents. So it's good for listening. Okay.
Can you send us a screenshot of your conditionals?
You can take a picture.
And then send them.
Okay.
Yes.